Greetings, pals.
Welcome to the podcast Around the Power. My name is Frank.
My name is Marcus.
My name's Tom.
You ready there, Frank?
I'm ready. And this is the podcast.
I can see you've got the IMDb of Robert De Niro.
This is the podcast where we talk about movies, love it or hate it, we debate it being movies. Because we talk about movies on the podcast Around the Power. That's pretty good.
That was not bad.
Hey.
You got shares in the word movies or something?
Yeah.
I do.
Stocks are going well. This is a good time. Invest. A little bit of political commentary.
Well, what are we talking about today? Someone cover for me.
We are doing Little Women.
The 2019 adaptation.
Huh?
Yeah, not the
2019.
28. Did you watch the 2018?
Fuck. No, right. No.
That's a joke.
No, it's fucking not.
Oh, Marcus watched the wrong one.
1994. Winona Ryder, Claire Danes, Kirsten Dunst.
No, you have
Christian
to be joking.
Bale.
You have to be joking.
He's written it down. I can see.
Why
his
would
name.
you say?
be
We just said
joking.
no. You said Little Women.
Yeah.
You said we're watching Little Women. That was the brief.
I guess we're done.
We're watching Little Women.
Let's keep going.
So
you legitimately watched the Christian Bale?
Susan Sarandon?
Yeah.
you could
Yeah, so yes, that's the right film.
I know.
You're fucking with me.
No,
we're not.
We are talking about the 2019 Little Women.
Yeah, Greta Gerwig.
with-
What did I say?
Oh,
you
that was
got him
good.
That was pretty good.
Thank you.
I would keep going.
I was
compare
seconds
notes.
away from standing up and just being like, well, I'm going to go get some water, I guess. Like, we're done.
Yeah, Marcus, you can sit there and quickly watch
that
it.
was good.
The commitment to writing down.
I know, 'cause it's actually right above
I can see 1994
Wow.
on your thing. That was pretty good.
Did you watch both?
The one giveaway was you were like, Sarandon? And I was like, yeah, why are you just continuing to list names at this point?
Yeah,
I know
because
all
we-
the cars.
Because I can see you both freaking out. That's why.
Okay, well, I still need to
Thank
get
you.
the pages up. So can someone keep
I
going?
gave you plenty of time just then.
It
freaked me the fuck out. Okay,
is
language.
Little Women 2019 Greta Gerwig's
Yes, it
adaptation
is.
with Saoirse Ronan, with Emma Watson,
Saoirse.
Eliza Scanlon and Florence Pugh, Timothy Chalamet, Chris Cooper,
Big cast.
Bob
Stacked.
Odenkirk, Laura Dern. Yeah, great cast.
Massive.
Really, really a lot of fun.
You know what's great about this podcast is we rate films out of 11. Why is that, Tom?
Okay, so for this one, there was an interview I watched not too long ago with Saoirse, and she talked about the fact that in Gaelic, this film would be translated, the word for woman is leva in Gaelic, whereas for man it's lada, but it's leva and lada. And if you want to say a young woman, it's leven. It legitimately is leven for a young woman. And so if you wanted to say a young woman, it would be a leven.
Are you kidding me?
Yeah, I made that up.
Oh! We've had 2 pranks! I can't handle this! What are you doing to me? That was so cool!
Yeah, no, it wasn't bad.
I was like, you don't know Gaelic?
Yeah.
The skepticism never left my face because
Yeah.
I'm sitting here going, there's no
Too good.
fucking way.
Tom made one
knows
that's
Gaelic.
and that's this relevant
Most
so
people in
excited.
Ireland can't speak Gaelic.
Yeah.
There's no way.
that I somehow know
I'm
it.
sorry, he didn't sell me.
That was beautiful. I had a great
was
time
very-
doing
very
that. We
well
should probably
done.
wrap it up because that was the
That's it.
pinnacle.
Marcus watched the wrong film.
Yeah.
I made up Gaelic.
Frank's mind is blown.
Shout your name if you like this movie.
Tom.
Frank!
Marcus.
Yeah.
A little bit touchier there.
Yeah, okay, give me
Yeah.
some
Should we
scores,
start
give
with
us
you
some
if you're on the low end?
numbers.
Look, I'm just going to give this a moderate 7.
Okay.
That's pretty good.
Yeah.
7.
This is going to be
7.
one of our nicer
Yeah.
episodes, which is good because it's a nice movie. Like,
Okay,
let's not
Thomas.
argue.
You know, I'll go before
Maybe
you.
that's
'cause
the
I'll-
problem.
I'll go 8.
Okay.
And you're going to give it. I'm
This
just
is-
going to guess.
Yeah, go on.
It's an 11 for you?
This is an 11.
Wow, really?
Yeah. Wait, yeah. Holy crap.
This movie is an 11.
I knew that going
That
in. I knew
surprises
that.
me because I know you love Lady Bird.
I do love Lady, which is also an 11.
I would have thought, that's
which is
uninteresting.
which is no, I agree. That is tricky.
So is
because
Greta
I don't
Gerwig your
love
second favourite
Gun to
director
head,
of
which
all
one's
time?
better? Go.
Lady Bird?
Yeah, oh, so it's a
But
10.9.
I-
There you go.
Yeah. Hey,
You
man.
heard it here, you heard it
If
first.
something's better, they can't both be perfect.
Marcus has been consistent. I have made that point before when we were talking about the Coens.
Uh-huh.
I'm going to stick with an 11 on this for now, and I'll reevaluate. But
That's
this
the
is
whole
sure.
point.
Today it's an 11.
But I'm not going to bring you down. Okay. Does anyone know what it's based on? Is there something?
Look,
Is it based on-
this your bit?
1994 film, yeah. Directed by Susan Sarandon, I
wrote
think,
it.
yeah.
This
She's
is one
good.
of the billions of adaptations, I'm sure, of
4 films?
Yeah.
In the 30s, the 80s?
Yeah,
It's
there
heavily adapted.
There was one with Elizabeth
story.
Taylor back in the day. I'm not too aware of the second one, but everyone knows the one from the 90s. Like, it feels like the classic one, which I haven't seen. So
I saw a couple of clips on YouTube because I was like, I do want to see. I thought Christian Bale looked great. I thought Claire Danes looked
Yep,
great.
Yep.
And Winona Ryder, actually, I think was going to be a good Joe.
young
Sure.
I guess we should watch it.
young
Haven't seen
casting.
it. Can't say.
Rather young Bale casting for Laurie is good. Like you see photos of him, you're like, that is a pretty good Laurie. Honestly,
Young Bale's so good as well.
young Bale is
He's always been-
ridiculously.
Christian
He's
Bale's
so dashing.
Newsies, Children of the Sun.
You are Newsies is like your thing, which I will watch it.
What
but
do you mean my thing?
I
I've
just
never
don't-
mentioned
I
it.
don't know. Yes, you have. You have brought up Newsies. Like you call me in the middle of the night
Read
to
all
tell me
about
about
it.
Newsies.
Sweating.
Yeah. Oh my God. He sings Santa Fe.
Extra.
This is Batman.
I should watch it because I know you like Newsies a lot, and I don't know very much about it.
Can I tell you something? I've never seen it.
Okay, Well,
I've never
that's-
seen. I've seen the clip of Santa Fe, and I've seen the clip of Jeremy Jordan sing Santa Fe
Also,
on
it's
Broadway.
Empire of the Sun, not Children of the Sun. I was just going to correct
Sorry.
you there, but let's
No.
continue.
I'm glad you.
Oh,
picked
Children
up
of the
on
Sun
that.
What's Children of the Sun? Is that band?
I don't think there's.
I
That's
don't know. Children of the Corn.
Walking on the Dream is by.
Shit.
Katrina and the Waves.
Stop.
I hate that I know that.
Yeah.
Continue.
Good for you.
Thank you.
Greta Gerwig. Is she Tom's favorite director of all time, except for Scorsese?
She
No.
is probably my
David Fincher's above them both, I think.
statistically for like what I would call a modern director or like the young generation, where you could put like Gerwig in there, you could put.
You fix your jacket. You look weird. Sorry, listener. Tom looked weird.
Yeah.
So my jacket didn't look.
You
too
should look at your shoulders.
For the viewers, right?
Look at this guy.
good. Sorry about my jacket. Is that better?
Dress much?
Is this better?
Our live studio audience
Kinda.
I'm
agrees.
sorry I
Little
didn't
bit.
like color
Whatever.
coordinate like you two. Anyway,
You look good.
the Gerwig, Jordan Peele, like Ari Aster, Robert Eggers, like this young generation who are all in kind of their late 30s, early 40s coming up right now. Yeah, probably Greta Gerwig is my favorite director. And like, I really like Barbie, but even just being like, yeah, Barbie's really good. I like that a lot. The first two films are masterpieces, like absolute. And then the films she's had a handle in, like Frances Ha, which she essentially wrote with Noah Baumbach, who directed it. And I think she kind of like I don't think she did co-direct it.
And she only directed 6.
Six movies.
yeah.
Well,
Well,
she's
sorry.
really she's
Dua,
done,
Dance the Night, Dua Lipa music video, so 5.
and then there's one that she directed with like a bunch of people, which is like the
Collab
one.
style.
Is that the one?
No. I mean, it's collaborative.
Oh,
style.
sorry. I genuinely thought that was the name of the movie. That's funny.
Good, you really know
it's
your
the
stuff,
one. It's
Tom.
the one right before Lady Bird, isn't it?
Nights and Weekends?
Yeah, I think that's it. Where it was just kind of like a very casual whatever movie that
Oh,
everyone was
directed
like,
by Joe Swanberg and Greta Gerwig.
yeah, and it feels very indie and whatever. But like her movies that I haven't seen it. The movies of hers that I've seen that I love Lady Bird, I love Little Women, I love
So you've seen 3 of her films.
Barbie. She has made 3 films.
Yeah.
essentially.
So
Well,
Tom,
and then Narnia's coming out soon, which
Yeah, I was a little skeptical of Barbie and she nailed it. So,
that's the thing.
look, Tom, I have not seen Lady Bird.
oh, you got to watch Lady Bird.
To this point, Greta Gerwig, she's not my director.
Oof.
I think I can see that she has a really great appeal. I think she's very talented, and I think that she's excellent at what she does. She's not my director. It's fine. It like don't be offended at that, please.
I'm a little offended.
For $1.
Yeah.
No,
Uh,
what are you going to do?
That's all right.
But I would like to see Lady Bird, and I will. It's on my list. But yeah, again, I watched obviously Barbie. I had my issues with. Again, I can see the mass appeal.
Yeah.
I can see what it was going for and who it was targeting.
You find
and
women
it's-
difficult, though, to be
See,
fair.
I knew this was coming, and I just fucking don't need this today.
Is Lady Bird's. We're
I was
just
just
going to
trying
move
to
on. We're just
preface
going to
this.
move on.
I
from
was
that.
going to do the Billy Eichner bit earlier. For $1, name a woman. But I decided.
It's a good bit.
Greta Gerwig.
It's a great bit.
Yeah.
I win. Can I have $1? Timothy Chalamet is also in Lady Bird. And also Lucas Hedges.
Yeah, what
he's
happened to
fantastic.
Lucas?
Saoirse Ronan.
Jesus, Lucas Hedges.
Saoirse Ronan. Okay. The cast of Little Women is
Stacked.
We did kind of go
absolutely
through it while you
outrageous.
were
Fat stack.
straggling earlier.
Yeah,
you
but
can go
let's
again if you
let's
want.
do it with some respect. Saoirse Ronan.
Saoirse.
As-
I don't know how to say it.
as-
Let's give
Saoirse.
it some respect.
Sear a
Saoirse.
steak. Sure.
As Joe.
Sure. As Joe. Emma Watson as Meg March. Probably the weakest of the 4 women.
Probably, yeah.
Which is
Not
weird,
probably.
like
Not probably.
Yeah.
Is.
she is.
Continue.
But it's not a stunt casting, but you have you have to have a good name, but
If
it would
you've
have
got a
helped, it
strong
would have helped
cast
with the
like that,
profitability.
that's the problem with ensemble casts, especially when they're strong. You have a weaker link. There's always going to be one.
I still
Saoirse-
think she's good. I like Emma
She's-
Watson.
I
She's
agree.
good. I
I
do
agree.
think she's the least interesting character and in
Yeah.
many ways the least
And
interesting
yet-
performance of the 40s.
Yet, not the most undercooked.
Okay.
Continue.
I know who you're going to say is the most
Yes, I am.
uncooked,
So
but
continue.
Anyway, we'll go.
Who?
Beth.
No. Beth, 100%.
I don't think
Continue.
that's true. I
Well,
think the movie's
no,
very
but-
subtle with what it does with Beth, but we'll get to it.
Whatever.
Well, yeah, Florence Pugh and then Eliza Scanlon as Beth.
Yes.
And then
Florence
Laura-
Pugh as Amy.
Yes, sorry.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
right.
Laura Dern as the mum.
Yes. Marmy
Timothy Chalamet
as Laurie.
Marmy, is that like Irish for mum?
They literally
Hey,
call her,
Marmy.
they call her Marmy in this.
Yeah. Marmy.
Marmy. Yeah.
Like
Saoirse
Irish person
insisted
saying
it
mummy.
was in there.
Do you know who I was very shocked to see and didn't
Bob
rec-
Odenkirk.
Bob Odenkirk?
Yeah.
No, yes, but Chris
Jarring
Cooper.
in a way, and
Chris
then
Cooper.
kind of works.
Bob Odenkirk has such a warmth to him. I
No, he
adore
does.
that man.
It's great
Yeah.
casting for you're going to be in 2 scenes and everyone just like has to have no problem. Everyone has
Yeah.
to be so excited to see you and you have to be the most inoffensive, wonderful person.
Yeah.
And it's like, yeah, Bob Odenkirk.
Yeah.
Immediately
Is
he
he
appears.
is he the new America's dad? Maybe.
Kinda. Yeah. And he's the least because Tom Hanks sort of entered that for a while and now he's almost turning into America's granddad.
Yeah,
which
he's aging out.
Bob
of it.
Odenkirk's not that much younger, honestly, but Bob
No,
Odenkirk
for sure.
is like the for the ones who know. If you know, Bob Odenkirk is America's dad.
Well, that's. I feel like people just know Breaking Bad and Better Call Saul. It's like that's not who he is.
And then some others
He's so
know
funny.
like Mr. Show, where it's
Yeah.
just like, which is not
He's
really
ludicrous in
representative
that.
of who he's become. But
No,
that was
not
this
at all.
weird abstract.
And then he did
humor.
that film. Is it Nobody? Mr.
Mr. Nobody.
Yeah, I didn't see it.
It's
Kind of great.
yeah.
It's John Wick-y,
He pulls off.
It's John
yeah.
Wicking, and it's
Yeah,
great.
The Wikipedia says it's quite like John Wick. Actually, it's interesting.
Yeah, that's
Um,
interesting. We should. have
You've
said
got
that.
Saoirse Ronan and like the 4 main Little Women, right? Who are all exceptional, but Saoirse Ronan, Florence Pugh.
Yeah.
Yes.
The 2 of those, this cast to see them.
They are
This
the
is
strongest.
relatively early in all their careers.
Mm.
It is mind blowing to have that much talent in one shot.
I think that's true.
And I think the way Greta Gerwig has crafted this and put it together and made it flow, and the performances are so natural in a way that you don't go, huh. You like they're interesting choices, but they're still natural. Like the way they sit on chairs sideways or do things or jump all over each other, and they're doing silly plays in the attic and funny voices. It could be so cheesy and fake and just insufferable to watch.
I think
But
it tiptoes that line very closely.
I disagree. I think it's well
No,
close.
no,
to
no.
a
I'm
wonderful-
saying it,
No,
it hasn't hit that, but I think it's so bordering on it. It's got to be careful.
I don't even think it's bordering. In my
okay.
opinion, I feel it's like safe.
I
It's
feel
so
like this is
safe.
a Christmas film.
I agree with that 100%. But I think it's so
with such, but
shamelessly.
with such a heart.
Yeah.
Like not a Hallmark Christmas film.
Well,
A Christmas
again,
film that
I think it
matters.
tiptoes Hallmark at times. I think
Yeah.
aesthetically and for the period. Look, I don't gravitate to period drama. Immediately, it takes us like I take a couple of points off because I'm like, I'm not the audience for this, and I'm very open to it and I enjoy it. Right?
Can I ask why it's wrong with period dramas?
I don't know. I
You
guess it's one of those genres that I don't. It doesn't really sit with me in terms of like I'm not jumping at the gun to go and watch one, and if it's on TV, if I've got something better, I'll probably watch that. Do you know what I mean?
Does it sit in a time where the dialogue it doesn't really? You're like, what are they talking? Like, why do they speak like that?
I
And
think,
does it
and I
look-
mean this in the most respectful way, I think that once you've seen one period piece or one period drama, they start to really blur at times for me. Like you get the same sort of aesthetic and the same sort of like.
Yeah, but the same could be said for World War II films.
No, of course,
You know, like-
of course, but
But I understand
that
your point.
as a genre sits better for me. At least I
Yeah.
find that more interesting as long as it's an original take on it. And so this is my point: is like if you take a period piece or a period drama, really have an original take or original spin to it. Now this is tough because now we're talking about an adaptation, right?
Yeah.
Gerwig has taken a real swing in terms of her approach to this.
She has.
Now, did it land for me? I don't think it did. I think that the time jumps for this film ruined it for me.
There's
And
one,
I appreciate the attempt.
that is one thing that I was like, wait, where are we? Like,
Yeah.
some of them took me a second.
Now, have you, just for the audience here, have you guys read the book?
Of course.
Kath has, and I watched this again. This is like my 3rd or 4th time watching this, and I was gonna start reading it, and I didn't.
Okay.
So, but
Have
I
you
should read.
seen-
it.
books
have
are
you
for
seen
nerds.
any other iteration?
Never seen any other iteration. So this
Frank?
is my.
No.
So this is the problem,
This
right?
is my. Yeah, I mean, you could call it a problem. It's just
do
my
you mean?
version of it that
Yeah,
I
what do you mean
engage with.
problem?
Like, Marx is like, we don't have a frame of reference outside of this for it, which it's like.
But
you
it's-
could- this is just the one I like.
I haven't
this.
read Raging
I'm
Bull.
a first-time
Like, I
watcher.
haven't read-
You didn't read Raging Bull?
But you know what I mean? Like, there's a book, isn't there?
Yeah.
All right, I'll continue my point. I'll be short, I promise. Because I haven't seen or read the book or seen another iteration of this, I don't have the linear tale, right?
Gotcha.
So when it starts to do the jump, now I can see that someone who's also seen the other iterations and has read the book would be equally as pissed off because they're like, what the fuck? this is not the story I know and love.
Sure.
But at least they have the context to what's going on and they understand the overall arc, right?
Yeah.
For me as a first-time watcher, I'm like, I'm lost. Or I had to think too much about it and then I've missed something because I'm like, wait, connecting the dots. Go, oh, you're here now. Shit, what did I just say?
I found that to a degree, but you would always sort of pick it up from context and then you'd be like, gotcha. And it would auto-resolve as you sort of rolled through.
And then I've got more points. We'll circle back, but that's my biggest issue with it.
Yeah, okay.
As a film.
How did you feel about the Vox Pops to camera when they were doing like, this is the letter I've written and I would
kind of
read it
love
to you?
that.
Yeah,
I
interesting.
kind of love that.
Yeah. I think Greta does.
They didn't do it enough, in fact. I think it was only 2 times.
3?
It's Tracy Letts and it's Saoirse at the end.
And then that Louise guy.
Oh, yeah. Oh, mate.
He does it at the start,
Yeah.
and then there's the old guy who keeps knocking back her book.
Yeah, Tracy Letts.
Does she do it?
She does it at
She
the end
does
as well
one.
when I'm pretty sure she
the
sends
letter.
it and then he sends it back.
She goes,
And
there's not
he's-
much of worth in this book.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
I'll
But
send
it's
it
only
anyway.
those 2 moments because that's a connected moment then, isn't it?
Yeah, true.
Yeah, sure. So it's 2 moments where they use the Vox Pop sort of delivery and I really enjoyed it.
He's great.
It was interesting.
I love Tracy Letts.
Yeah. Thomas, I'm going to assume this resonates for you. We've said this recently about because of the emotionality.
This is one of the most emotionally affecting films of the last 10 years.
And there's not one person on this cast list that doesn't nail the emotion.
There's not a moment
doesn't
in the
feel
film.
it inauthentically.
Yes.
It doesn't present it in a way that's translates for the audience. You know, like you always know where they are emotionally.
Which
is incredible.
It's a 7 for me because the performances are outstanding.
They are.
Outstanding.
I think the direction is. I think Greta Gerwig is the most intelligently, emotionally attuned filmmaker of her generation. And I think she finds a way to maximize the emotional impact of scenes without making them sentimental or gloopy. I know what you mean when you say you can imagine a Hallmark version of this. I can too. I can imagine a shitty version of this movie. It's just, that's not what this is to me. I think it's just so well moderated and calibrated, and every section of it is so perfectly constructed to allow us like the absolute maximum input or rather the maximum sort of like involvement in the girls' lives.
Yeah.
And
just
as it starts to pull around the tragedy of it and yet the joy of it as well.
That's the beauty, the contradiction of the joy, the sadness,
it's not
and like the
exclusively
anger
a weepy.
and the fighting and the infighting
my God,
between
there
the
is anger.
sisters.
It's
They're
real.
and it's so well played in the way that I don't know. You just you believe that they feel it, which is such a crappy definition, but
It's true.
Every step of the way, I was like, they are sisters. They must have been working together for months to get this chemistry, to get the flow of the dialogue and the scenes.
The chemistry between the 4 sisters is so good.
Yep.
So good.
They must-
But I don't agree with you boys in saying that it always hits the mark in terms of tone, because in terms of we're looking at a story about poverty at the tippity top of it, right?
Yeah,
and
it's
about
relative,
social
but
classes
yes.
and about poverty and about
a woman's role,
expectations of women's roles within the time, right?
Yeah.
And breaking out of that or not, or succumbing to it or whatever it is. I felt that some things were really undercooked. I think that if you're going to use, like Beth obviously being a very famous, this is one thing that was unfortunately spoiled for me, is I know that Beth dies in this.
I think it's kind of unavoidable.
It's unavoidable.
It's like the Sixth Sense. Everyone just,
Yeah.
you didn't know?
Well, I knew Joey got scared and put it in the freezer.
I was about to say
It's
that's
the only reference I'd had.
I know that Timmy fell down the well. Do you know what I mean? Like,
Who?
Timmy.
What happened?
Timothy Chalamet, he falls down a well in this. Do you know, I had in my head, I was like, when we talk about Little Women, there are certain moments of it, you know, for anyone who sometimes listens to us talk about this stuff, and if you think, oh, they're putting it on, getting emotional, I can speak for me, but I could say for Frank and Marcus as well, we do get emotional talking about these things. We're very emotional people. And I don't want to be obnoxious and get emotional talking about the movie, because who cares, right?
But
I told myself, if I ever feel myself getting emotional, I'll just imagine I'm Joey putting the book in the freezer. And I'm just like kind of putting it to the side just to kind of take myself out of it for a little bit, because there are parts of this movie I don't think I can talk about in depth without getting emotional.
All right, well,
so I'm just going to let you guys walk around and I'll sit here and
I
nod.
will do it for you,
Please
because
do.
my problem is that the film has very peak moments that you can see should be the most emotional crux of it, or it should hit that tone and that note for me. You know I'm an emotional person. You know that I find those moments in certain films. Again, none of it landed for me in this, because I find that they almost unintentionally made a joke of the moment. Like they're verging on it and then they make a joke, or they make a lighter moment of it. Everything to me was made light of
what
Beth, the hardest scene in the film is Beth dies. We find out Beth dies. And again, because of the way that they place the time jumps in here, it doesn't give you time to resonate and process, and it shifts you away from it. All of a sudden, you've got she dies, you've got then Emma Watson gets married or something. Like, it's a weird sort of structure to this where it's like, give me time to grieve and give me time to feel that. Also, you don't get a lot with Beth to build to that moment of like, now I'm distraught or now I'm upset. Because in this, it's you get the moment with her and the piano and the old man.
Yeah.
And that's kind of it.
Yeah, I see your point. You don't get a lot of Beth, but you get a lot of Joe.
You get more of the other sisters.
But this is what it's, it's not that it's
give me
not
less
about,
Emma Watson and more Beth.
But it's not.
If I had a choice.
Not that it's not about Beth, but Joe's the protagonist, right? Joe's our lead. Joe's our our eyes for the world.
Yeah.
I like the way they don't wallow in the grief. I think that's so. For context, there's the scene previously where Joe's sitting by Beth's bed and she wakes up and Beth is gone and she runs downstairs thinking it's going to be something terrible.
Yeah.
And Beth has gotten out of bed and she's eating and it's amazingly beautiful and Saoirse cries and laughs and it's an explosion of joy. And then you have the replication of that scene in the future.
It's slower.
It's
darker. She's taking her time to go down there.
Because there's a feeling. She wakes up and she, like when something like that happens, something happens in the body, She walks downstairs. It's just Laura Dern sitting at the table by herself. There's no dialogue. She turns. She cries. She's like clawing at Saoirse's, clawing at her daughter. And I think she mouths, "I'm sorry," which I was like, that's so tragic.
It's masterful. And
then we keep moving because there's so much to cover. There's so much in these lives that we want to see that you got to and want to cover. And we're back in time. We're going to the wedding, and Beth's there.
Yeah.
And through the breadth of the film, you get the relationship of the four sisters, and it sort of pieces together and builds like a little Jenga tower of emotional plot lines and stories.
I can see what you're saying.
Gerwig gives Beth that grace note of dying and the tragedy of it with Dern and Saoirse in that scene, and then we just get that shot of her putting on some flowers, like getting ready for Meg's wedding.
Yep.
And we just see her smiling. We never speak to Beth
and she's
again.
watching the sisters.
But she's alive. And I think there's some mystical cinematic quality there that Gerwig captures amazingly. That she can still be part of their group. And even after she's died, we still feel Beth lingering, and it's not a sadness because the next thing, as you say, Marcus, it jars for you, but it's really, really captivating for me that's the choice she made.
Celebratory of her, and it is like that because Beth was the quiet sister. She's the best of all of us, as Amy says.
It's such a cliche, but she's the glue. She's every scene. She's never bickering. She's never angry. She's always just peacefully contributing. She's acting as some sort of like adhesive agent between the girls who know and can rely on her. And her presence is incredibly serene and really assuring. And her absence is devastating. And yet going to the wedding, it's like smiling through tears. Like it's the most fucking awful thing when she dies. And then she's alive again somehow.
See, this is interesting. This is a good point, actually. Because I think with grief in general, right, is not to be too deep here, but grief, everyone deals with it differently. Everyone has their own way of coping, right? So in a film perspective, for an audience perspective, you've honed in on the ones that use or push through grief in use of celebration, celebrating their life, celebrating the person. Let's not grieve. Let's not be sad. Let's celebrate. Let's move past it. Let's get past it as quick as we can. Some people need to grieve. Some people need the time to process, and some people need to drag it out just that little bit. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely.
So for me, it didn't land because I didn't get the time because, as you said, it's just like, oh, quick, let's get to the next bit. Let's rush. Let's go.
We still have her funeral. We still have them all standing together.
We do, but again, it felt so short and not lived in. And I didn't get enough of it.
I think it's admirable that it doesn't wallow. I know what you mean, that there could be allowance made, and I'm sure there's a longer version of this film that has more scenes that feature like them talking about Beth and them missing Beth. But I do think that emotional logic, as opposed to a linear logic, which is so much of the film, is based around like events and how they impact the characters versus the actual structure of the sequential order of it, which is really inspired adaptation, as far as I'm concerned, from Gerwig. I think it's a great.
It's a bold choice, and
bold.
I found it tricky, but I like by the end of it, I was like happy with. The only thing that kind of irked me is the ending, where it breaks the fourth wall, and the publisher is like, "Well, she has to be married," and
she's like, "Fine,
I guess
and
we'll
then
get married."
she gets
go back to
married.
the scene, and it's like, well, wait, what? Because then I was like, well, what actually happens in the book?
She gets married, but it's a much older man. And Louise May Alcott apparently said she was pressured to have Joe get married. And she's like, fine,
Really?
then she's going to marry this old, stuffy guy, and it's not going to be romantic at all. And it's kind of interesting that Gerwig's...
Transactional.
Yeah, and Gerwig's kind of like, what if he's like kind of hot? Like, what if he's
a
like,
little
what if he's?
So is it
what if he's like
in the book? Is it the professor?
Javier Bardem, right? I think he is in the book as well, but he's like
he's cast as an
he's
old
quite
man.
homely, or he's just quite.
There's some real eye candy going on there. You know, he's a good looking boy.
He's
Good for
more
him.
like Tracy Letts in this in the book. I think. No offense to Tracy Letts, but I think that's kind of like he was meant to be a sort of middle-aged man in the book. I think that's my read of it anyway, from what I understand. And Gerwig's clearly doing this is what we expect from women in stories.
Yeah.
And she's having her cake and eating it too, but also I get the cake, so I don't care. Like, I like
Tom and I get the cake.
I like the cake. It's
I see
truly,
what you're
she's
saying.
kind of like, I'm going to do both, and isn't that great? And I'm like, yeah, great, do it.
Yeah, or like almost, but I was a bit, for me at that point, I was like, I was so into the narrative that I was like, oh, wait. Oh, this is just
You're doing
fabricated.
a bit here.
You know, I was a bit like, oh, wait, well, what's reality? What's real? Because I was invested. You know, I want to know what's actually happening to these little women. But yeah, fantastic. Do you know who is a great combo in this?
Florence Pugh and
Timmy.
Saoirse Ronan.
Well, yes.
Oh, you like
yes.
Tim and Saoirse?
Tim and Saoirse.
Yeah.
This made me appreciate, because I hadn't seen, obviously, this, but I haven't seen much of Timothée Chalamet. I haven't seen Call Me By Your Name. I've only seen Dune 2, you know, on a 280p version. I've seen The Complete Unknown. And to watch this young Timothy...
Yeah. This
I was
little
like,
skibbity thing that he is.
With his little strange gait and he's kicking his legs
with
around.
his lanky
he's so
legs and
thin and
It's kind
lanky
of got a
and young.
Ben Whishaw vibe to him.
Yeah,
you know,
a little
when
Ben
Ben was
Whishaw,
younger.
yeah.
You know,
Sure.
he's the real deal, Timmy. I
Also,
think he's so good.
much like little Leo in Gilbert Grape era. Like thin, gawky, awkward.
There is some difference.
I think
think.
weird choice to say Gilbert Grape, but
So-
yes,
but like,
I see what
it
you're
is-
saying.
I
when
am
Leo was
struggling to put my
15.
finger
Yeah,
on it, but there's
yeah.
like something about the performances that's a little different. But yes, I know what you mean, I think.
But I said this
aesthetically.
a long time ago about Tim Chalamet being a closely resembling Leo.
Oh,
Aesthetically to me, and
the career
in terms of
trajectory.
career.
He's gone to Leo for
I got
advice. and
torn to shreds for that.
yeah, well, when you said it, you
Well,
were wrong. But
Now it's come to fruition.
I disagreed with I don't
Ah.
see so much in their performance as
No,
much.
they're
because-
different actors.
But I agree with you.
Yeah, he's got
you
dark
could go
hair.
actors that have like similar performative tics and whatnot.
Sure.
I do agree with you that the trajectory is similar. Like the dream.
It wasn't the point I was making. I
But
literally
he
said
like
that.
he starts off in his younger days doing pretty artistic stuff, like
Yeah.
theater kid film,
Yeah.
and now he's becoming a heartthrob main cinema. And what's going to happen is he's just been nominated for an Oscar. He'll probably now go another 30 years without an Oscar, and he'll do.
Well, he's been nominated for
films.
He's
2
gonna-
now,
yeah,
hasn't he?
great work.
Yeah.
Call Me by Your
Yeah,
Name and
Complete Unknown.
Complete Unknown.
We've got
You know-
Willy Wonka 2 to look forward to.
I mean,
can't wait.
I will watch the shit out of that. Do you know what Leo's advice to Timmy is? Allegedly, this is like
Yeah,
his
no.
Yeah, don't
what was the word? I
don't
don't
wear a
know
mask
exactly.
or don't.
No drugs.
no hard drugs,
Hard
which
drugs,
I like,
sorry.
and no superhero movies.
Yeah.
that's it. And he's like Wonka and weed, and it's like, all right, yeah, sure, that'll work. But
Yeah,
like,
which he was already doing.
Yeah,
Like,
presumably.
Look at him.
yes,
But
no.
he's got so much boyish charm. He's not playing a heartthrob. He's just playing a young kid who's
he's underplaying.
He's
it.
so affable and funny.
It's what makes him so alluring. That it's like there are actors who do the what little old me, and it's like you know how good looking you are. You know he
I don't
really
think-
doesn't.
he doesn't.
You really think he's just like, dude, you're so attractive. It's
Yeah.
wild. You don't.
He
get.
does, and he does kind of grow into it a little bit when he's
Yeah.
then in London or when he's
When they're in
Europe-
Paris. Yeah,
and
yeah.
he's sort of now marrying Amy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're like, okay, now you're a bit of a trash bag bachelor, whatever you're being.
Yeah, he's a bit of a
Yeah.
Lothario
Yeah,
when he's
yeah.
like, I really like his.
It's pretty lethargic.
when he comes in there with the two girls and he like collapses on the chaise lounge and she's like, Laurie, and he's like, I feel caught. Like just laying
Yeah.
there between these two women that he's
That's
picked
the
up.
version of him I really enjoy in this
He's
film.
really good at
Yeah.
playing that. And when he's like, oh, please, Amy, please. he's being a little sulky bitch.
Well,
but
there's a scene at the end there where our heartthrob walks through the door for Saoirse, and then he's like, I'm sorry, who is this? Who is this?
Who is this guy?
That version
What?
of him I don't like.
Oh, I found that kind of funny because he was like,
Ah,
wait,
it's
who's
a
this
bit-
handsome man?
I like that.
I'm the handsome
I agree.
one here.
That's when he realizes how good looking he is, and he's like, "Who's this motherfucker?"
Yeah.
Like, we have one of me, all right. We don't need another.
Joe's meant to love me.
Next
Everyone
house
loves me.
over,
Yeah,
thanks.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's pretty
sure.
interesting. That strange jealousy.
Yeah.
What about the scene between him and Saoirse on the? By the way, before I even ask about this, the cinematography in this
Outstanding.
really good.
By a
Really good.
by a cinematographer whose name is very difficult to remember, so I don't. Unfortunately,
Try
it's
it.
a name that starts with what I think it's like Yorick something. It's a very very unusual name.
Sure.
But very very crisp, beautiful cinematography.
Yorick
You are
Schmenzel.
correct.
Yorick Lasau.
Yorick Lasau.
Sure. Like so, like
Um,
so.
It's beautiful.
Yeah,
You're
the,
gonna.
the scene on the hill. Sorry, between the two of them, where he's like, "I love you, I love you, I adore
We've got to have
you."
it out at some point. What
Yeah.
a great line.
And it's a great scene.
Yeah.
That is a really, really good scene. It looks great. It's so minimalistic too. It's just two people on a beautiful hill.
That's it.
Colors
Just
are popping.
Great setting.
and it's
do
not
your scene.
distracting.
Yeah.
You get kind of a lot in that scene. I really enjoyed it.
And then at the end of it, Cesar just sits down and you just get the sunset.
Puts her head, and puts
trees.
buries her head in a lap, and it's devastating.
I can't talk about it, but it's a very good scene. It's beautiful.
Saoirse Ronan.
Yeah.
Holy shit.
Oh, she's truly one of the greatest actresses of this time.
I have we'll get into it in a little bit, but I have a butler's pantry, basically just all about Saoirse that we should talk
Okay,
about.
well,
but
we'll into it. Well, then let's do Florence Pugh.
Florence Pugh,
Holy crap.
Really good at
What
it.
a
And what a
remarkable-
career she has gone on and will go on to
Yep.
have. What a low voice.
She's
as well.
so funny. My criticism of this film when I first watched it, I watched it years ago with my mother back in Devonport, and she was going out for like a girls' morning, and she's like, "We're going to go watch the new Little Women." And I was
How
like,
many films have you seen with your mother?
like
All of them.
103%
Every single one.
of them. Yeah,
Yeah,
every single
yeah.
one. And we watched it, and afterwards I was like, God, that was amazing. I loved that so much. I was immediately just smitten by it.
Yeah.
And I was like, my criticism, or if not my criticism, is just my note that
The women weren't little
they
enough.
weren't little enough. That truly is part of it. I was like, Florence Pugh, it's an inspired choice
I
to
know
cast
what- I
them
know what you're
all
about
when
to
they're
say. I know
young
what you're about to
and then
say.
have them all grow up. But I was like, Florence Pugh's amazing in this film. There's no way I buy her as a 16-year-old, but whatever. And Mum goes, actually, she's meant to be 13. And I was like, fuck off, she's not 13. That is not how a 13-year-old looks
That's
or
why
sounds.
in the Winona Ryder one
not
they have
looks, but
Even just like what I'm doing is I'm talking about this, and
I'm
I owe ever so many limes, and it's just like, what is that voice on a
know.
13-year-old?
You couldn't shift it up a little,
No,
Florence?
and when she's in the classroom, when she does that caricature of the teacher,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
all the kids around her are 15 years younger than her.
That's a good
And
point.
it's like,
That
is
is a good
she
point.
the teacher? Right?
the thing with her though is that she does deliver petulance really
She
well.
does.
Like,
and
Oh, yeah.
I've gotten to the point with the movie where I'm like, it's kind of amazing that she's like, I want you to act like a 13-year-old, but change nothing about your voice and change nothing about your general essence. But do oh, Joe, please, can I come? Can I come? And like,
It's a weird
Joe,
pull.
please, can I
sound
come?
like a child.
it's a
Yeah.
weird pull, but and maybe an intentional character choice, as you say. But you do have the Dakota Fannings out there. There are some really highly uber intelligent kids who are old souls, well above their years.
Yeah.
Yes. But
And
they
you can do
look
it,
young.
but like the Winona,
Yeah.
the Winona Ryder
Ryder.
version has a split casting:
Yes.
young Amy, old Amy.
This
Sure.
is it. And it's I'm glad they didn't do it with this. I
Yeah.
think it's a really interesting
Because
decision.
you want the emotional through line because you grow up with them,
100%.
right? It's
I
like
want
it's
to be
like
with them the whole
Billy
time.
Elliot.
It's
You get to
like
the end of
Billy
Billy Elliot and you go, "Who's that?"
Do you know
I
my
agree.
favorite Amy bit is when Tim's up doing his studies in the window
It's
and
the
she's
fucking funniest
She's had
part.
the cane over her hand.
Yeah.
I don't know the line exactly, but
She's-
the way she delivers it.
I can't
She
go
says,
home.
I know who you are. You brought my sister Jo home after the dance. I wouldn't have ever broken my foot because I have such lovely small feet, but now I can never go home again because I'm in so much trouble. It's the funniest
I
thing.
cackled.
I was in a cinema full of like 20 people and we all didn't hear the next 20 seconds of the movie because we just kept laughing at how fucking good that was.
Like perfection in the script because she's arrogant and confident. That's why she's like, I would never just my ankle because I have such
Yes, it's such a
dainty
run
feet.
of
what a weird line. And
Yeah.
the delivery is just like it just escalates like a roller coaster up to the top.
There's some criticisms online of this because I did some reading up as well.
Yeah.
Is that a big problem with the film? I didn't necessarily have this problem with it either, but a big problem with the film of this iteration is that because some of the more heavier tones of it or the message that certain scenes were meant to be driving were made light of. The school, the disciplinary action at school, according to the books and the lore of it all, is meant to be far heavier than we perceived it in this film. Right?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's about because the family themselves were very much against, like, you know, fuck the rules, fuck the patriarchy. We're going to break the conventions here.
Yes.
Yeah.
And their father's gone to war
And so-
for the Union because
Yeah.
they're against slavery. And that's even
That's
what
right.
she's talking about in that scene where
So
she's
how
like,
dare someone hit my kid?
Yeah.
was the
Yeah.
big thing.
there are some things that definitely, I think they just have to align and be like, the movie's 2 hours, 20 minutes. We don't have time for this fairly sizable book. Like, there's a lot in there. And I think it's a pretty genius economic bit of adaptation.
So what is Gerwig's? Because she obviously has a very clear point with Barbie,
Yeah.
right? What is she doing with this film?
Yeah.
Other than the time jumps and sort of taking a
I
new
would
spin on a very well-known story, what is she doing?
My
as
favorite
director?
thing about it? No,
you go. Tom. Honestly, you go.
Okay.
Honestly, I'd love to hear what you say.
Thank you. My favorite thing about this movie, as is true with most of my favorite movies, I think I talked about this a bit with Big Lebowski, is that all the stuff is there if you want to analyze it, but this is a deceptively simple film about sisterhood. And that's it. And it's like,
So
again,
she bottles down to the rawness.
I
of-
think
of
so. And I think, of
relationships
course,
and
there's a
people.
lot of stuff here about like how women are perceived and the stories they're allowed to have.
And women's roles in society.
Absolutely.
And how do you break out of those
And
molds that are
social
already
and
made?
class
etiquettes and-
and
yeah,
you know
yeah,
even
yeah.
just Americanism in many ways. Obviously the Civil War is in the background there.
Yep.
The ways in which we sort of choose lives for ourselves, or we have paths, we have ambitions. Amy's a big one for this. She's got that incredible speech where she talks about how she would rather be a genius or nothing, and then it's not nothing for her to just think that she can do whatever. Laurie, I need to get married, I need to consider my options. You would never think about any of this, you know. And it's not a rah pointed didactic moment. It's just a character kind of like sighing, like you've never even given this a fucking second's thought, have you? Like it's incredible, and yet it's just a movie about sisterhood, and it's painfully beautiful.
You can take away so much from it. That's such a good point.
Yeah.
You don't have to. It's not like in your
Absolutely
face.
don't have to.
I don't like, though, that Amy ends up at the school teaching painting. I don't like that everyone's at the school and it's this perfect little school they have. And you're like, oh, great, they're all together and they're all doing what their gifts are and sharing their
Yeah, life's not
knowledge.
that good.
No.
No, I know, but it's
Fuck
like...
it, their sister died. Let them be happy.
I know I want them to be happy, but that was such a like, oh, let's do a montage of the whole school and
Was
it's
it
thriving. and
a
there's-
bit Hallmark?
Awesome.
It was
Yeah. I mean, no, I
That
don't
was-
think it's Hallmark, but well, yes.
That moment for me feels a little Hallmark.
Thank
I was
you.
like,
I agree.
Like,
It did to me too.
You could cut that. You
In
could
saying
finish
that,
it.
the back third of this film is my favorite part of the film.
Yeah.
Oh,
From when she starts, when
No, I
Saoirse starts,
love the
when Joe
opening
starts
hour.
writing, like she's like, "I'm going to get this book done."
why does she write?
When
Like
she's
she's
starting
running out of
writing,
time.
Right to the end of the film is my favorite part of the film.
She
that
writes
good.
to the end of the
and
film.
it ramps up the pace and the
Yep.
intensity, and you're like, oh, okay, here we go.
Even when
because
she's
you know
doing-
that's her gift.
There's the scene where she's like laying out the pages in the attic
yeah.
and she's doing all this shit and she's like writing frantically at candlelight and then she gets a sore hand.
Changes
and
to
it
left hand,
changes
right
hand.
left handing.
Great.
I
man.
think
Amazing.
it's
Yeah.
a
So
brilliant
good.
visual representation of something that 1,000 movies do, and Gerwig's like, I'll give you 60-second montage because I know we all like that a little bit. It's a bit fucking like, you know, amphetaminic.
So you find that to be cheesy?
No, I like it, but I
Oh.
like that she limits it to that. She's like, here's a
Yeah.
scene we've seen 1,000 times. I'm going to do it in a really fun way where I'm going to make it so tactile because the pages are everywhere.
The
and, you know,
candle, the wax,
yes,
the fire.
the montage, the music. Saoirse's just
The way
like
she-
commitment to it. And then at the end, when she's telling her sisters about it, she's like, I've been working on this thing. I don't think it's very good. Like she's really offhand about it.
But then,
You know?
and then Amy
Yeah.
has that wonderful line where she was like, "I've always liked what you do." Oh God, what does she say?
I don't think that she's like.
I know what you're saying.
She's like, writing doesn't confer importance, and Amy's like, I don't think so. I think if you write about it, that's
It will
what
be
makes
important.
that will make it important. She's like,
Yeah.
when did you get so wise? But it's saying.
And she goes, "I've always been wise. You just never.
You
You've always been
you're
looking at my
always
flaws."
pointing at my flaws.
Yeah.
Beth says at
So
the
good.
beach when Joe's writing stories for her, she's like, I don't know if I want to write this stuff. I don't think anyone's interested.
Write
And
for
Joe
me.
says, write it for me. Do what mommy says. Write it for someone else. And I'm like, that is one of the most profound things I've ever heard about creativity in anything. Just like do it for someone else. Don't do it for yourself.
And then at the end, when she's in her flurry at the top, she just keeps for Beth. She keeps looking at for Beth, and she just keeps writing.
Which feels so cheesy. And it
when you say it like
works.
that, yeah,
Yes.
it's cheesy. But because you're in it, and because Saoirse Ronan is the greatest actress of our time,
She's up there.
she
truly
like
is.
you just want everything. You just give me more. Like she could be on screen for 5 hours, and I'd be fine.
Also, Laura Dern.
Laura Dern.
Laura Dern's
Laura Dern's-
amazing. She's the most dignified woman
Oh.
I've ever seen. She has
Call me mother. Everyone does.
Mommy. Call me mommy. Everyone does.
No. She says call me mother.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
I thought she said call me mommy. Maybe you're right.
Call me mama, mame.
There's that line early in the Okay, that was pretty good.
That was bad.
It was funny. Though.
Chalamet
It was so
reference.
bad. It was good.
I just got air out that's been in me for years.
Like an old
You wheeze
Squeaky
Sarcophagus.
toy. Like an old squeaky toy.
Fuck.
All
Oh,
the
I'm
dust just went-
sweating. That was so good. Funny. She has an amazing scene that I think is a little bit the key to the movie as well, which is that the movie doesn't. You were asking what it's about, and I think it's very.
I don't think anyone's answered my question.
Well,
Well,
we've kind
Tom
of said
said
like,
sisterhood.
it's sisterhood, but it's like we were saying. There's things to do with creativity. There's things to
because
do with womanhood.
Gerwig's strength is, I think she's going to be known for a while now for what Barbie represented.
Yeah.
But I think that my understanding of Lady Bird is that she does minute moments and relationships and people and real feeling
Mhm.
really well. She captures that well as a director.
It's a snapshot film, Lady Bird. It's
and
like
so
it
Sisterhood
feels
checks
like
out.
it,
I get that.
it somehow contains all of life, and it's like 4 months in the last like part of school
Yeah.
for a kid in
It's kind of like watching
Sacramento, and it's amazing.
Watching like a sped up version of like a flower.
Yeah, it's a time lapse. You're absolutely right. That's
kind
kind of what she does. These real, like, quick but very, very indelible and well textured films. The bit that I think unlocks, if you want to get into some thematics of the film, is that a lot of movies that are about women, even when they're directed by women, even when they have like women who are behind the scenes working on it in a creative capacity, they can sometimes be a little probably like focusing on it's hard being a woman and that's the theme. And not that this movie doesn't have some of that and not that that's not valid. It's just there are times where it's kind of like sometimes that can feel a little bit overwrought. Sometimes it can feel like you're being didactic or you have a theme but you don't have a story, all that sort of stuff, right? One of the ideas in this movie is that it's great being a woman, that it's great being a young woman and a young person. And not only just for these girls who have that opportunity because they get to love each other and share in their creativity and vibrance and uniqueness, it's also because Laura Dern has that scene where she gives the scarf to the man who's come to talk about at the office that his 4 boys are off at war. And two of them are dead,
Yeah.
one's ill, and one's been captured. And she's just thinking, and it's the most subtle and beautifully done moment of the film, one of the most, where she's just like, what if any of that were my girls? What if any of that were my children?
Yeah.
And I have these 4
the men were being forced to war.
This is it. And
Yeah.
and they do take their time to be like, this was a time where it was, of course, as throughout all of history, very disadvantaged and very difficult to be a woman. But this notion of her being grateful that she has these 4 girls.
Holy
and
fuck,
she's so
Tom.
thankful for that.
Tom,
Yeah.
I think you won me over.
Isn't that amazing?
No, I think you got me. I think this is the argument I was looking for
Okay.
this film.
Yeah.
I was looking for the moment of like, because you're right, they don't play to the hardships. They don't play to the being a victim of the time.
Play to the joy.
And whereas I think my perception of this film was more, Greta, you've got a platform here. This is where I'm asking you to use it. This is where I'm saying, dig into that.
But if
what are you
she-
doing?
if
It's
she
all too
did-
light
if
and
you-
fluffy.
If she did, would you be like, too much? You know,
Well,
like
it
it's-
could be-
Yeah, I
it
know.
could
This
be
is the
too
thing.
heavy.
Am like
But
damned
also,
if I do, damned if I don't?
to
I
go
don't
back,
know.
I have 2 things for Laura Dern. In that scene where she gives
Sure.
the scarf, it's such a caring and nurturing moment, which is one thing that, you know, historically women do so well, much better than men. Just that warmth to be like, I'll give you the scarf off my...
That expectation is there, yes, definitely.
What are you fucking talking about,
As
you
in-
idiot? What do you
What do
mean?
you mean expectation?
Yeah.
Sorry. when you're
Men
saying,
are really good at it. Continue.
Yeah.
when you're saying that there's that notion of women being nurturing and more
Yeah.
sort of like reinforcement, that's largely like a conditioning thing. But you're correct. That's why it exists. So I
Yeah.
think that idea of women being the caregivers and the loving.
And she's known as mother, right?
Yes,
she is
of
that. Her
course.
nurturing's in her nature. I love the scene in the attic when Saoirse's like, if he asked me again, talking about Laurie, if he asked me again, I would say yes.
Yeah.
And Mum is like,
Do you love him?
do you love him? Well, she's like, I think you know, I would say yes if he asked me to marry him. We could be happy together. But do you love him?
I think more of being loved. I prefer to be loved. That's not the same thing.
Oh.
Talk about a scene I can't talk about.
Also,
but
like, let's go back because Meryl Streep, who we haven't spoken about,
who's so fucking funny in this.
Great. Who plays their aunt, who's like, don't
funny.
Marry, men are terrible. I made my money, I saved my money, and your sister, your brother. No, wait,
well, she's like
Laura Dern married my
marry,
brother.
but only marry
For
specifically really well.
Yeah.
Otherwise, what a shame.
Which Laura Dern married for love.
Yes.
And you're like, it's so nice to see it. It's so.
And Meryl's just like, your
celebration.
older sister's fallen in love with a penniless tutor, imagine. And then she's got like...
Now I understand
Subscribe
your
to our
letter.
Patreon. Give Tom money.
Narcissistic bastard. Continue.
And then, Joe is like gone with her artistic ambitions. So like Amy's the last hope for her. And then when she hears that Amy's turned down Fred, Meryl's just like, oh, for fuck's sake. Like,
So mad.
Well, and the other ones died. Like, well, none of them do.
Dude, when Meryl's
something
asleep,
right.
Meryl's asleep in her chair and she snaps awake and nearly throws that dog across the room. Do you remember? I lost it.
She's so
Sorry.
good.
Yeah.
She's
Again, talk about like iconic casting. You got the four little women, Laura Dern, Meryl
Streep.
Streep. That's
Yeah.
huge.
My favorite scene of
Yeah.
hers is the early one with her and Amy riding through Paris in
Yes.
the carriage. And she says, you're here, of course, because you need to find a husband. And Florence Pugh's like, and finish my painting studies. And it's like a 10-second pause of Meryl Streep looking at her. And then she goes,
yes, that too.
oh, yes.
and then
good.
Florence
That
Pugh
was funny.
sees Timothy Chalamet walking past, gets so excited, and Meryl Streep is like, "Oh, it's that Laurie boy again." She's so disappointed to
Yes.
see him because
Yeah.
she's like, "This kid's gonna ruin Amy's fucking life."
Yeah.
she's
Like-
always been obsessed.
Like
with
the
him.
mother of every girl that's ever met Tom.
I mean,
same
tell
reaction.
you what.
That's so nice of you to say, Marcus.
Thank
It's
you,
a
man.
lie.
Appreciate
Hey,
that.
it worked out for you, though.
Thank you.
Penniless tutor.
There's Meryl Streep, like Chris Cooper coming to offer to dance with Meryl Streep, and she very politely goes, "Oh no," very demure. And Timothy Chalamet comes up and she's like, "Get the fuck away from me!" Like, I said no.
yeah, I'm not
she's
dancing and not with you.
very funny. It's perfectly cast movie.
A really nice scene between Joe and what's his name? Sorry, I've
Laurie.
blanked. Laurie. Sorry, yeah, Joe and Laurie. Is
Laurie
when
Lawrence?
when they're outside. For the first time they've met. Laurie Lawrence. Are
Oh,
you kidding?
oh my god, you're 100. No, it's Theodore Lawrence. She calls him Teddy. Teddy.
Ah,
So Lawrence is
When they're
nickname for his
outside
last name.
when they first met and they're outside
I
dancing
love that
between the
scene
windows.
so much.
Yeah,
That's-
they're like behave, dance,
and like
behave.
this very modern, weird kind of
works.
freak out thing
Awkward,
that
goofy
somehow
dancing.
works.
Yep.
I remember watching this at cinemas, and I was before that scene being like, "This is really nice. I'm really enjoying this." And that scene started with the music, Greta's camera just so fluid following them, and I fucking started levitating out of my seat. I was like, I can't believe how good this
That's
is.
because I've
great
seen that
scene.
famous shot of when Greta's directing that scene in Lady Bird.
Oh yeah, when she's yelling
she's
at them
like,
to run through the field.
Okay, now right, yeah, it's literally just mute the mics. I'm just going to talk you through the scene. Now kiss her. Now run. Now be in love. Now fall down. And it's really, really
You're
cutesy.
in love. You're puppy dogs.
Yeah. And that's obviously her way of directing. And I don't think she does it all the way through the film, but I think she picks select scenes to do it.
Yeah.
This is that scene.
she's a joyous director. I think
Yeah.
so. And like,
And it's that
of course-
it's that lack of like
feels
not
lived
lack
in
of
and-
rehearsal, but it's like here's an impulse. Follow your impulse.
Yes.
Trust that
Yeah.
because she's
Which
spoken
for
about
theater
nerds, which all of these actors
That's right.
They'd be like, "Fuck yeah, the playpen I get here,
Yeah.
like
That's
just
what it
the
would be.
space
Yeah.
I have to work."
She's the actor's director.
Yes,
well, she is an actress originally.
she
you go.
is.
That's
This
right.
is what happened.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
Wow, we're all
miraculous.
just glowing, aren't we?
What a fucking incredible movie.
But it's so joyful. The feeling, even it's such a set. And I watched it in 2 sittings because I told the powers I was having a rough week, and it got to I could see Beth was about to die, and I was like, I'm going to bed.
Yeah.
I'm going to bed. I can't do this today. Put it on the next finish the film, and it immediately enraptured me, and I was just it just feels like a celebration of
Yeah.
life.
yes,
There's something magic in it that you don't get in many films because it's rare to have. It's lightning in a bottle, like they say. To have those actors with that chemistry and that director guiding them and just letting them be free within this safety net of. I'm assuming it feels really scripted and structured.
especially
this-
the conversations, as we've talked about,
They're
the overlapping,
incredible, yeah.
which feels very modern, but is really well done. She talks about the fact that no one thinks about themselves as being living in the olden days. So she's like, I wanted to film it like they were teenagers who were having conversations now.
That's
they
a really
wouldn't
good
be
point.
going like,
Oh,
well,
like,
you know,
don't
we must
believe-
go to the dance and all that. No, they'd be talking like excitable adolescents.
Yeah.
And that's how
And
it
they might
comes
use
across.
old form language, but
Oh, that's capital.
yeah, I can't
Great.
speak like
Can't
that.
say that. Christopher Columbus. Like, great.
Yeah.
Great.
Knights of Columbus, that hurt.
I think, no, I'm really glad we talked about this actually.
Isn't so good.
This was a good film. I wanted my 7 is because I was like, oh no, this is great. There's great performances. There's a great something here. It just didn't. It wasn't enough for me. But I think that now I've realized my gripe with it was I expected my expectation of what's your message here? What are you driving?
Again, you're taking the
It's-
future Greta Gerwig. And
I
being
think
like,
so,
oh,
maybe. Yeah, maybe. But maybe I just thought it seems like all the devices and the story plots are here for you to explore more and to really hit on and to touch on.
Yeah.
And she chose to not really
There's a delicacy to it.
delve and dwell on these
Yeah.
moments
Yeah.
rather than celebrate and push through and
She offers up a lot of it.
humanize everything.
We should really quickly get into the pantry.
We should do Pantry and MVP.
This whole
Yeah.
thing's been a
Oh,
pantry.
this is-
In a pantry with a mic.
But let him
About
go.
time.
Hey.
Butler's pantry.
Capital.
Capital.
Where's Saoirse Ronan? Please come back, Saoirse. We miss you. Please come home.
Where is she?
We love you so fucking
She can
much.
have a breather.
It's
surely.
been 6 years. We need to see Saoirse in more meaningful movies.
Has it really?
It's been, and she's been in like Foe, See How They Run, The Blitz, and
The Outrun.
The Outrun, which no one knows anything about. She's been in some pretty middling or just fairly like unheralded films. I've seen like parts of Foe. I had a friend of the pod, Loxley, went and saw it. And he started explaining it to me, and he was like, yeah, it was pretty good. And he got halfway through explaining it and was like, oh, I think it was bad. Like, he kind of realized as he was telling me about it, it's not a very good movie. So I was like, yeah.
She's cooking, man. She's out there cooking.
She needs to. She
Well,
is
she's
the
got-
most promising young actress. She's
a promising young woman.
She had 4 Academy Award nominations before she was 25.
Yeah.
Atonement,
Crazy.
Brooklyn, Lady Bird, and Little Women. 4 Academy Award nominations at 25. She hasn't done anything really big deal meaningful in 5-6 years.
She got two
We need her
credits
back.
upcoming,
Yeah.
Bad Apples and Deep Cuts.
Please.
But they're both in like pre and post production.
Please give us more Saoirse, because when we talk about this cast and the weird sort of like serendipity of them, Timothée Chalamet is running the fucking plate on Hollywood. Like, it's Timothée Chalamet season and will be for the next, if he keeps this up, 10 years, maybe longer. Florence Pugh, who's doing some really interesting out there performances in things like Midsummer. And then yet she's also in Thunderbolts. Like, she's got both sides of it. You know,
Yeah.
she's staying visible, making her money, but she's also a crazy,
She
wild,
was so
interesting
good
actress.
in Black Widow.
I haven't
And
seen
she's
it. I
gonna be
heard
great.
she's very funny
Oh
in
my
it.
god, it's a fantastic performance. She
She's very good in Oppenheimer, right? She's a very small part of that
Yeah.
movie, but she kind of nails it.
What's
I just
the Olivia Wilde
recently.
one that we spoke about.
She loves getting nude. She's doing the nude thing
Well,
as well.
not a, yeah. So
Who
I
doesn't
saw
love getting nude?
We Live in
So
Time,
freeing.
which
Yeah.
it's her. Have you seen that
No,
with Andrew Garfield?
but I know
Yeah.
she.
That movie.
She
is,
shaves her head. It's
wait,
crazy.
actually, sorry, I wrote a note for We Live in Time.
Ah, God.
Bet it's good.
Oh, it's bad. It's a bad movie.
Oh,
Sorry,
no.
I had to write that down.
Thanks
It's-
for that great
I'm sorry,
bit,
it's
Tom.
just not a very good film. We
Okay,
Live
so
in Time.
your Butler's Pantry is
Florence
bringing
Pugh-
back.
No, bring back Saoirse, but also just the actors that we have here. But also the weirdest thing being for these young actors and this weird sort of like nexus of them all coming together either with Saoirse right before she's about to drop off the mat for some reason.
Mm-hmm.
Eliza Scanlon, who's an interesting one, you know, Home and Away, Australian actress, and then gets this role, has done some stuff, like done a lot of theatre, was in Dope Sick apparently, and kind of shown up in a bunch of random stuff. But like, you know, I'd be interested to see in more things. I hope she's got some big things coming, but she's kind of the interesting anomaly here. Florence Pugh, Timmy, and then this is Emma Watson's last movie.
Do you mean Dope Girls?
Dope Girls. I meant Dope Girls, not Dope Sick.
like
Sorry,
she's
we were
like
talking
Dope
about
Sick.
Dope Sick a while ago.
Yeah. She did
Yeah,
the
Emma-
importance of being earnest at the National Theatre
on
Live.
stage with Cutie Gatwa, the Doctor Who guy.
Yeah, cool.
But she's Emma Watson. Sorry, that's Emma Watson's last movie. Emma Watson has not been in a movie for 6 years. It's a weird
I mean, good on her.
punctuation. I mean,
Like, same with the Daniel Radcliffe of it all. It's like, what are you going to do after Harry Potter? You'd be like, oh, just give me a break.
Yeah,
Yes.
it's
Or
rough.
do what you want.
That's
do
a
this
rough
weird
gig.
stuff.
Daniel does what he wants, and so did Rupert. I think Emma. I had a conversation with Kath about this a while ago, which was like, I was like, I feel like Emma didn't get where she wanted to. And Kath made the point, maybe she doesn't want to. Maybe she's doing what she wants to do and she's happy. And I'm like,
Absolutely.
that's fair, but she was in Beauty and the Beast. She took that role of a Disney princess, and
Yeah.
everyone went, "No, thank." I mean, that movie made $7 billion,
That
and then we all
feels like
pretended
a-
it didn't happen.
It feels like an agent grab, though. It doesn't feel like it's a choice necessarily from
True,
her.
but I mean,
hard
she
to
can
know.
say no. She's allowed. She's
She has
allowed
millions
to
and
go.
millions of-
No, thank you. I don't want to do Beauty and the Beast. Like, I
But
can't imagine the
if Disney
contract.
come knocking, it would be very hard
That's
to
the
say
thing.
no.
I don't think you can say no. I think at that point, because you're in this transitional period from her where she's still trying to shake off the Harry Potter franchise.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
She's
then why
still
would
trying
you?
to become Emma Watson, the actress, outside of anything she's done prior.
Well, that's it. I see that as a.
and so an agent's like, you can't say no to Disney.
My question is though, like Daniel Radcliffe went niche project, weird movie. Robert Pattinson did the same thing.
That's a bold choice, though.
You have
And
so much money, and you're going to be getting residuals for the rest of. You are fine.
Yes.
No, you have nothing to worry about.
I think.
Why would you do Belle from Beauty and the Beast?
This
it's
is my
such a important role that everyone loves and adores, and if you can't nail it, don't do
Or
it.
if
it's the
it's not
wrong
gonna be a good movie.
casting. It's
I don't
silly
know,
casting.
I mean, I don't think I've seen like half of that movie.
Luke
I
Evans is
didn't keep
so
watching
good
it.
as Gaston.
So good.
I've heard that what's his name, Dan Stevens, is actually kind of okay as the Beast. I hear the Beast looks. I mean, I've seen it. It
doesn't
looks
look
atrocious.
good. But the Beast song is
I
quite
think
nice.
Emma Watson wanted to be, or at least if she didn't want to be, was being cast and presented as this is going to be a big actress in big studio films. Rupert
Yes.
and Daniel didn't. They
No.
were just like, Daniel was like, I'll play a farting corpse.
Well-
and Rupert Grint's like, I will do whatever M. Night Shyamalan wants me to do.
Here's
like,
the
and
thing: Emma
you know,
Watson is probably the more talented of the three.
it's a call.
Of the three of who?
Of the-
Rupert,
the-
Rupert, Daniel Radcliffe, Emma Watson.
I
The
think
three Harry
I
Potters.
think this is going to be a stupid thing to
You
say.
can't
It-
put them in the same genre almost in a weird
I know,
way.
they're all
It
very
really
different, but-
depends on how they're used. I think she's really good in Perks of Being the Wallflower.
That's it,
That's
yeah.
just about the only thing I think she's good in this. She's the weakest of the four, unfortunately. But
Am
she's
I,
not-
would
she's
I
not
be right in
weak.
saying that maybe she just hasn't been used correctly?
yeah,
yet?
I think that's it. Whereas Rupert's the weirdest fucking man alive,
Yeah.
and just like.
They've found their thing. Yeah.
Yes, and
Yeah,
Daniel's
yeah, yeah.
Daniel. You know, he plays what coked up Nathan Drake in The Lost City.
Have
know,
you guys
that movie
seen-
with Sandra
And then he
Bullock
did Merrily We Roll Along on Broadway.
Yeah, he's
like,
just doing. He's
it's
got that
just-
guy, that movie where he's got guns like sewed into his hands. You know, like,
guns akimbo.
What
Have you
is-
seen? Have you seen his Weird Al Yankovic?
No, I've heard
Yes.
it's pretty good.
Yeah, the
It's
Weird Al
quite
Yankovic
for
story.
such a shit movie.
Whoa!
It's pretty shit. I love Weird Al. Big Weird Al fan.
I've heard
Yes.
Madonna's the villain of that movie.
She is.
That's
That's
kind of
it's fantastic.
That's kind of funny.
Yeah,
It's pretty outrageous.
He's great.
He's
Yes.
so good.
He's so good.
He does.
Anyway,
he does
we-
that in
we
his-
digress.
My point is just yes. I think
Digress.
it's interesting these actors all coming together and seeing the trajectory.
It
and
is like
seeing,
a little like crossroads.
yeah. And Timmy has just like overtaken the world. Florence is pretty close, like she's right behind him probably.
Yeah.
And then Saoirse just fucking needs to do some more interesting stuff. And Emma, I miss Emma Watson, but if she never does a movie again, she's going to be fine. And I think that's okay.
And that's okay. Absolutely. I'm also very excited for Greta Gerwig's next 6 films.
Yeah,
You know?
Narnia, like I was saying, is one of those things where I'm like, that feels weird, but that's how I felt about Barbie, and then I liked Barbie.
Yeah,
So-
you kind of like at this point you got to trust her.
Yeah.
What she hasn't really missed.
Because we know that she does do something different with all of her content, I think that I am interested.
Yeah.
Because to me, the Narnia franchise, when it first happened, didn't land.
The ABC show, the
didn't
BBC show back when we were like kids.
No.
Oh, Aslan,
Oh,
we
no.
cried our heads off.
No, but the
You don't remember that?
next generation.
Oh, with James McAvoy
Yeah.
as Mr. Tumnus.
Yes, Mr. Tumnus.
Tilda Swinton, amazing in those movies.
horrifying.
So good. So
That's
good.
I would say that I'm not backing down on the fact that the time jumps in this just gave me such whiplash that it annoyed me.
Sure.
I would have preferred a far more linear cut of this to see how that resonated with me emotionally, because I didn't get the same emotional stance that you guys felt.
Yeah,
I
fair.
wish I did.
Do
I
we-
really wish I did.
Do we throw out MVP real quick?
Yeah, let's
No,
go.
we're running pretty good.
Well,
In unison?
do you want to say it at the same time? Yeah.
Saoirse Ronan.
Yeah, cool.
Even though, like,
Closely followed by Florence and Timothy.
I go,
Oh my god, and all of them.
I would say Florence, not so much Tim for me.
I find him so watchable in this.
he's wonderful.
Yeah, but
It's pretty
again, this is an
incredible.
ensemble cast. They're all strong.
That's it. There's not a lot of misses. There's not a
But
lot of misses.
It feels very obvious whenever I like I'm on an 11, and I'm staying with an 11 for this because I just think it's a perfect movie. Like, well, Greta would be the obvious because she directed it and she like
Yeah, she
adapted
put it
it
all
and whatnot.
together.
But yes, I think on screen, Saoirse's just illuminating. I want to say one thing about the back half of it, and this will just be my like talking about some interesting emotional parts of the movie, and it'll
Hurry
be
up.
fine. Don't even worry about it.
Hurry up.
I basically, from about the 50-minute mark in this movie, like start just leaking tears. And then for the last hour and a half, it is just like variations of how much I'm crying. Like I don't really
So
stop.
you haven't really seen the back half.
Oh, sorry. I'm just like trying to
God.
actually. It's truly.
What's
It
happening?
basically kicks in by the time. I guess it's kind of like around the time Beth's starting to get sick.
Yeah, when she first gets scarlet fever, you're like, oh no.
Yes, and I'm already getting
Book in the
upset
freezer.
about
Put
it
it in
all.
the freezer.
A book goes in the freezer. But I
true.
want to just mention one moment that I think is perfect, and it's just captivating as a choice, which is that after all that, it gets to the end of the film, and we've had the kiss in the rain with what's his actual name in it? I can't remember. Like. He's her friend, Joe's friend, and she's decided
But
that
for the French boy.
Louis Garrel, who plays Friedrich Brauer.
Friedrich Brauer.
Friedrich.
No, I don't like them. I don't
Okay,
like them.
what's the
Anyway,
moment?
sorry. She's decided that that's how the story's going to end, and we've seen that whole montage, and everyone's happy, and it's great. And it gets right to the end, and she's printing the book, and they're showing it get made, and it's
Yeah.
a wonderful montage. And we cut to a shot. We cut to a shot of all the little girls, and they're playing together, and they put their swords in the air, and it's just that like moment that I always forget is at the end of the film. But I like yes, because they're all together again as little women. It's
Oh
what the
God,
movie's
it's
got.
like the end of the Iron Claw.
It is just
No.
Shut up! Shut up!
That's
that shot of them
No,
playing
it's-
together
no,
as young
it's
girls
very nice.
is beautiful. It's so gorgeous, and you just are kind of thrown back into that again.
I remember looking at that and going, that's nice, but I wanted like 3 more little like, remember that, remember that, remember that.
I like how restrained she is.
I
with
know,
that.
but I just want a
love how she
little
just
more.
holds back. She gives you 1 shot or 2 shots and just lets you go like they had a life together. And you're like, I know
it's beautiful.
they
It's
did.
stunning.
Oh.
Can I ask some questions?
No,
Yes,
is anyone
please.
going to throw anything in?
I wanna hear his question.
We are like way over.
Nah, good. We just keep going. This is a great talk.
Okay, let's
I love
go.
it.
What are you going to ask?
All right, real quick questions.
Yeah, go on.
When
Rapid
you write
fire.
a draft of a novel like that and you send it off to be approved, where's the copy?
That's what
How do you do copies?
Truly, that's what I said to Kath. I was like, so,
is
that fuck that coffee. Like there
Yeah,
it goes,
yeah,
all
yeah.
that copy. Yeah.
Yeah. So what, it goes to him and he's like, nah, I didn't like it. And that's gone forever.
Yeah.
Does she write 2 of each?
No.
I don't know.
How's
man.
it work?
That's
I'm just-
truly.
I'm just
She's
curious.
just like, well, he didn't want it, so I
He
guess
would
that's
send
it.
it back if he doesn't want it.
Yes.
Okay, next question.
Yeah, just keep it in your pants. Was one of my big notes. It's like you're obviously stricken with poverty and you keep having children.
Oh, I see.
What is it with that?
Yeah.
Well, people just keep having kids. Like, I'm going to have 6, 8.
Condoms
I'm really poor,
condoms
though.
didn't exist. Like,
Yeah, but so like,
You would have preferred
What?
a movie called The Pull-Out Method.
yeah,
Yeah,
use the
literally.
pull-out.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah. Oh no, but if the girl's on top, you can't get pregnant.
I'm just saying.
You can't get
it
pregnant.
seems
She
like
can. Yeah.
It seems like you're causing
Junior.
yourself some problems, right?
Okay, next question.
That's it. That's all I have.
Oh, that's it? That
Yeah.
was fun.
Probably the worst ending to one of the loveliest movies we've ever talked about.
We'll cut that out. Marcus, are you throwing in?
Yes.
Yay!
Threw in the pound.
So am I.
Threw in the
What are
pound.
you going up to?
All right, I gave this a 7. I'm going to give Little Women in 2019, by the way.
Yeah, the right one.
Yeah.
Good.
8.5.
Wow. Let's
Threw
go
in
again.
the pound.
I'm gonna go up to a 10.
Oh my god.
Whoa, that's high.
It is so beautiful.
11,
It's joyful.
perfect movie.
Yes, we know, Tom.
It's so good.
We
Did you know it's an 11?
That's a great start.
11.
Little Women.
It's
You
Gaelic.
give them out like Candyman.
We'll come back
basically.
next week and
Just
we'll do
love
the
those
Christian Bale. one.
Candyman.
Can he do it again, man? I don't know.
Let's find out.
Threw in the pound.
Thanks for listening to Road Bow.
Val,
We've
my
been
name is Frank. I'm
some
Tom and Marcus.
Big men talking about Little Women.
Little women
You
and
wouldn't
big
read
men.
about it or hear about it, but here we are.
big boys.
We're all big boys. Please.
Why do you do this for the end?
Send us an
Why?
Instagram.
Throw the barrel at gmail.com
Email
and
us,
Instagram.
Send us a carrier pigeon.
Threw in the pound.
Smoke rings.